Hello folks and welcome to Herstory. My name is Laura, I'm your host and detective, and we are going to delve into the most fascinating stories about women and their participation in the world, both good and not so good. Today, on our first episode, we're going to discuss Deborah Sampson. Now, when it comes to the Revolutionary War, you may have heard of camp followers, who are the women who took on domestic tasks, or Betsy Ross, who sewed the first American flag. However, a lot of people don't even know about the Massachusetts state heroine, Deborah Sampson. Now, this bitch was so cool. Now, what's absolutely insane about this is we've all heard about the legend of Mulan, but in the Revolutionary War in the US, Deborah Sampson was the one who woke up one morning inspired by the spirit of the revolution, wanted to serve her country, and went out there and did it. She took a bayonet to the head, she took a bullet in the thigh, and thanks to her artful sewing skills, she patched herself up. She served for 17 months, undetected, until she was struck with fever. When she was taken to a camp to be serviced and healed, the doctor uncovered her breasts, and he realized,
"Oh, this is a woman. We don't do that here."
But here's what's fascinating. Was she an exception? I beg to differ. Based on recent uncoverings about the Civil War, it turns out that up to 400 women, for a fact, did the same thing that Deborah Sampson did. They woke up one morning, donned men's clothing, and fought. These women were not even allowed to wear pants or show their ankles. And they woke up and they did that? That's insane. It's so cool. Now that would have been the 18th and the 19th century. Usually when we think about women's participation in history, we typically start to think that it occurred around the Industrial Revolution, when women started to have to take on roles outside the household. See, this wasn't just the case of the 20th century, of women being activists and starting to participate in the more modern ideas of both masculine and feminine balance. Actually, we can go back to the first general of Japan, named Tamo Gozen. Now, she was a part of an elite group of warriors called the Anabugisha. This was in the 12th century. Now, this is kind of like a genre of martial artists, where they were women from prominent families that would train in the art of war and participate alongside men in battle. Now, of course, they also had their differences of not being seen as equal, but Tamo Gozen was able to avoid this stereotype. She was total bad status. This woman was able to climb up the ranks and be respected by everybody in her battalion. She led 300 men in the Battle of 1184. Let's just double check these facts, shall we? Yeah, and not only that, she cut off the leader's head and gave it to her own. Now, her ability in warfare earned her the role of what is considered to be the first general of Japan. In the 1100s! That's cool! That's so cool! So, you can't say that women's roles have always been in the home. It's just not true. You had people like Tamo Gozen who were able to rise above the ranks, given the opportunity. And then later on, you had Deborah Sampson, who was able to fight in war despite the entire world saying, "Women don't do that." Yeah, we do. And then 400 women in the Civil War. 400. Yes, they do. It's awesome. It's so cool. And not only that, we have women who not only were, pirates and thieves and courtesans and warriors, but princesses and spies and everything in between. And they did it in a time where women were expected to stay quiet and inside. And they didn't. And now we don't have to. But what if our understanding of exactly what the past was isn't correct? What if we have some generalized ideas about women's roles and women's capabilities that deter us from being able to fully recognize the true capability of half of the world's population? I think that much like some generals, like Tamo Gozen, there's a lot more potential there than we really thought. I think that when we limit ourselves into not actually self-actualizing, when we don't have heroes, heroines, role models to tell us exactly how much we did rule the world, how much we did do all that stuff, there's no reason for us to continue to think that we don't deserve to be more than we've had. And so let's remember these women. Let's just learn about these women in history, because it's not just his, it's hers. It's Herstory.